So this is the recording for the study hints for the online exam chapter 8. I think I have 13 questions on this one, covering about one problem from each section, about one. So here's question 1, system of equations, two variables. Describe briefly how you solve the system of equations in the next problem using elimination. So then here's question 2, where you're actually supposed to do that. Notice it's a multiple choice question, while the first one is a short answer. And then there's a follow-up question to that. And when I go through the study hints in this video, you will see that I covered these questions as well. Okay, so that was from 8.1, 8.2, equations in 3 variables, again, short answer. And then here's actually the system. I already wrote it in such a way that it's really easy to copy and paste and put it into Symbolab. All right, then using matrices, augmented matrix, and then here is the actual matrix that you would have to solve. And of course, this problem here from 8.3 is basically the same thing as from 8.2. Here it's the augmented matrix, but it's still an x, y, and z. In 8.2, it was the system of equations, also an x, y, and z solving. All right, so using matrices then here. Oh, that's a follow-up question to this one here. Again, I will discuss that then later. Operations with matrices, just multiply these two with each other. Right, and then matrices and inverses, find the inverse of this particular matrix, and I will show you how to plug things like that into Symbolab, and you'll find out. And by the way, as you can see, these two possible answers in the multiple choice, I basically gave away the answer to this particular problem. And then here, this one here, I believe is interesting because in the book they're telling us, hey, you can use this matrix for encoding. And that's what I do here, respectively. This is actually, oh yeah, these are my numbers actually. So you have to figure out once you decode this message here. By the way, these should be vertical, 53, 18, 1, negative 176, and 0, and the other one as well. It's just easier to write this way here. You will get one of these answers when you decode them. All right, and then last but not least, determinants. So again, I usually have these short answer questions. Describe briefly how to determine the determinant, and then actually the very last one is determine the determinant of this matrix. All right, let's get over to the study sheet. So this one is posted with the links in here as well. Whoops. Notice here I have problems 1, 2, 3. They go together on the exam, and then this is the example I will use from the book. And here I say when you do the problem yourself, the one from the exam, Google system of equations. This particular link right here is actually for this problem that I'm doing here on the study sheet. And then I have the next one. Again, 2 questions here. You remember these briefly described short answer questions. That's why there are usually 2 of these. And then this one here, again, Symbolab matrix in this case, Symbolab matrix, and so on. This is the one with the inverses. And I will show you this here later, what that means. And then here the last one is determined. So I believe it's really straightforward. By the way, as we're going into this here, doing a lot of Symbolab within the next few minutes, you can see that actually this is relatively quick. So don't do hours and hours on this. Of course, I'm the teacher, for me it is quicker, but it should be really straightforward. Okay, and this is from the book. So these are the review exercises, and that some of them I have on my study sheet, and I'm going to do number 1 in Symbolab, and I will answer those 2 questions as well. So here I have Googled Symbolab systems of equations. I'm going to click on it. Okay, and the following I have prepared. So this is Symbolab, the website, and you see this here on the left, system of equations. And I've already prepared it, so I already typed these in. There they are, and then I'm going to hit the Go button. That's just off the screen. There it is, Go button. And Symbolab is calculating that for me. And then the instructions say do it by elimination. Well, here it says by default it does substitution, so I'm going to change that to elimination. And this is where you would have to, besides that you get the solution, so this would be my solution here, y equals 3x, x equals 4. That's the one on my study sheet, respectively. It's the number 1 on the review exercise from the book. And so that would be the answer, and you would have to do the exam question right here. So see, it's really slick. But then you would have to describe just prior to that in that first question on how that is actually done. Well, the way it would be done is that you have these two original equations here, and you're trying to get rid of the x's. Well, multiply the first one right here by 3, which is exactly what it says here. Multiply by 3, and you get this, and then this one here, and then when you add it to the second one, you get a nice 0x, and you only get something in y. Solve for y, plug it back into one of the equations, and solve for x, and you have now 2 solutions. So that was actually a long description. You just have to describe it briefly how to start that problem. There is a follow-up question, which is about graphing them in Desmos. And again, I have prepared this, so I just opened Desmos here. And here they are, the 2 same equations. Both of them are, of course, straight lines, which is what you see here in the little window. And they do cross each other, so you have one solution, and then you can just click on here, and there it is. If I hover here, you can see the solution is 4, 3, just like the algebra told us in Symbolab. So for the next one, these are problems 4 and 5. On the exam, I chose from the review problem 15. So let's look at this one here, the original one. This is from the book. And there's problem 15. Solve the system of linear equation using Gaussian elimination. Right here is what it says. All right, so let's go over to Symbolab, respectively. Here's again Googling it, Symbolab systems of equations. Click on here. And I have already prepared that, so I'm just going to hit Ctrl-V for paste, and of course you would have to type it or copy it from the exam. That might be possible. I hit the Go button, which is a little off screen, and then here we go. So here it solved it. It already gave me the solutions right here. Again, this is for the review exercise, so here are the solutions. Then it says Gaussian elimination, so click this one here and change it. Gaussian elimination. The thing is, it actually does it right away with the matrix, which of course is the next thing to do in the section on matrices. So here it already does that, but basically, of course, it's the same thing. So it rewrites them here, and you can picture them right here still as the equations, and you're trying to get zeros right here. Whoops, not everywhere. Here, here, and here. And then use that Gaussian elimination. And when you click on Show Steps, which again was a little bit off screen, you can see that here. So that's what's happening here, introducing zeros right there. There they are, these 3 zeros, right? And again, when you show steps, then it would say, okay, you simply add the second row to the first row, and you have 1 plus -1 is the 0 right here, and then you add the y's and the z's and the numbers on the other side, and so on. And that's eventually how you're going to come up with this one here. That's the Gaussian elimination. And you can see right away that the z is simply going to be -1 because you divide -14/3 by 14/3, and you get -1. And then you plug it into one of the other equations to get the y, and then you get the x. And also, that is the lead-in question to this problem here. You briefly have to describe how the Gaussian elimination works here, which is basically you're trying to get the 3 zeros right here, and then solve for z, and then solve for y, and then solve for x by plugging in those. All right, next problem. All right, so the next one for the next section then, of course, is the augmented matrix, basically system of equation solving, and there are 3 questions attached to it. Again, the first one is briefly described. So let's see. I chose number 24, I believe, right here from the review section. So this is the one that I will be using once I get to Symbolab. So let's get to Symbolab. And again, this is what I would search for. There we go. And then you would have to scroll a little bit here and see where it says Gauss-Jordan. There you go. Click on that, and it puts it in there automatically. Then this would be a 3x4 matrix. So there it is. There we go. And now you would have to type it in. So 1 and then 1 and then -1, and so on. However, I have already prepared that, so I hope this is going to work. There it is. All right, again, the go button is just off the screen. So there we go, hit go. And then here, let's see, show steps. Yep, show steps. There we go. And so with the Gauss-Jordan one, what's supposed to be done is not only are you supposed to get zeros here in these 3 spots, but you're supposed to get zeros here as well in these spots. And you can see that this is what happened for the solution matrix. So here are these zeros, here are these zeros, and then the diagonal is all ones, with this here being the solutions for x, y, and z. And that's basically what you would have to describe for how this one is done. And then, yeah, do the matrix that you find on the exam and see what you come up with. Okay, and I better start a second recording because I'm kind of running out of time here with the Screenomatic software that I have. So see you in a moment in a second video.